Hey, what's going on, guys? It's etaprime back here again. Today we're going to be taking this $300 refurbished Android tablet and turning it into a gaming/emulation device, handheld and console style, connected to a big screen TV. Now what I have here is the Galaxy Tab S6. I picked this up refurbished on eBay for $309 shipped to the door, and in my opinion, it's totally worth it if you're looking for a powerful Android tablet and you don't want to spend $700. This is powered by the Snapdragon 855 and backed by 6 GB of RAM. Now, if you do want to spend $700, right now, as making this video, the best tablet you can pick up is the Galaxy Tab S7 Plus, but they are quite expensive. And personally, I would rather pick this up refurbished for $300 versus spending $600 to $1,000 on an Android tablet. And the Snapdragon 855 is still relevant in 2021. It has enough power to play any Android game, and it does an amazing job at emulation. We can even do Gamecube and Wii on this unit. We'll take a look at that in a second. But in order to turn this into a handheld, we're going to need some type of controller. And my personal go-to controller for these larger tablets is the Ipega 9083. This is actually the 9083B with Bluetooth 5.0 built in. I wish we had a USB Type-C controller that would fit these larger tablets, but until a company releases one, we're kind of stuck with Bluetooth. But the 9083 can be bought anywhere from $35 to $45 depending on where you get it. I will leave an Amazon link in the description in case you're interested in picking one up. But before we get into testing, I just wanted to show you some benchmarks using Android 11 on the Tab S6. Here's Geekbench 5, single core 744, multi 2552. Not bad at all. Moving over to 3D Mark Wildlife, 3011, and finally Antutu, with a total score of 544,453. Comparing this to other tablets in this price range, basically nothing compares. I know we're working with a refurbished tablet here, but this offers way better performance than any other tablet in this price range right now. So the benchmark scores look really good for an Android tablet, but how does it really perform in real-world gaming and emulation? So first up, we have Genshin Impact, and since I'm using this Ipega controller, you can download their Shooting Plus app, I believe that's what it's called, and we can map the buttons to on-screen touches. That's why I'm able to use the controller with this game here. We've got the resolution set to high and a few of the settings down to medium, but this is running at 60 FPS. I mean, performance here is great on the Snapdragon 855, and if you've ever tried to run this game on a lower-end tablet, you know how hard it can be to run. Next up, Call of Duty Mobile, and I just swapped over to the on-screen controls because I'm kind of used to playing this game like this on phones, but we're at high settings, and this is running at 60 FPS. I do have the Samsung on-screen FPS counter up, and I haven't seen a dip at all. This is just a very well-optimized game, and as you can see on the Tab S6, it runs it perfectly fine. And the final game I wanted to test here for native Android gaming was Battle for Bikini Bottom. This was recently ported over to Android, and it runs amazingly on this. You can go into the settings. We're at high at 60 FPS, but if you're on a lower end device, you can turn it to 30, but it's running fine. So we're definitely getting some really good native Android game support, and this thing also puts out some really good emulation performance. I got a few to run through here. First up, we have Dreamcast. I'm using the Redream emulator. I'm upscaled to 1920 by 1440, but I think I could have taken it a bit higher here. As long as the game is compatible with the Redream emulator or the Flycast emulator, it's going to run that Dreamcast game at full speed. The Snapdragon 855 has always been a great performer when it comes to Dreamcast, no matter which emulator you choose to use. Moving over to PSP using the standalone version of PPSSPP, 3x resolution, no hacks, no frame skip, using the Vulkan backend here with Chains of Olympus, and we're at full speed. Now this is a harder one to run, so that's why we had to take it down to 3x, but for a majority of the PSP games that are compatible with this emulator, you can take it up to 5 and even 6x. It also offers really great 3DS performance using the MMJ build of Citra. I was able to upscale this to 2x, but some easier to run games can go to 3. And when it comes to Pokemon, yes, it will run X and Y at full speed. Next on the list, we have Gamecube using the Dolphin emulator. This is Automodalista with the Vulkan backend. This is a harder one to run, and every once in a while I do notice it dip down to around 57 and 58. But keep in mind, the game that we're running here is a harder one to emulate on ARM devices, but I wanted to show this off because it will run it. And along with Gamecube emulation using the same Dolphin emulator and that Vulkan backend, we also have the ability to play Wii games. This is one of my favorite fighting games here, and we are running at 60 FPS. This is a really good performer. Now, you didn't see any of the lower-end emulators like N64, SNES, PC Engine, Neo Geo, FBA, because it's going to run it just fine on this device. If we have enough power to run Wii, 3DS, and GameCube, it's going to run those easier to emulate systems just fine. So what we've seen so far is basically handheld mode for this tablet, but the Tab S6 does have a few extra tricks up its sleeve, like HDMI over USB Type-C and Samsung DeX. If you're not familiar with Samsung DeX, basically what this does is turn your phone or tablet into kind of a desktop PC. And this is actually included with the Samsung Galaxy S8 phone up to the S21, and it also works with the Tab S4, S5, S6, and S7. So we're mirroring the screen now, but once I enabled Samsung DeX here, you can see on the big monitor I have this plugged into, we have a desktop style Android operating system. And what I'm using here is just a cheaper USB Type-C to HDMI adapter. DeX will work wirelessly to a Windows PC and certain monitors and TVs that support it, but you will experience latency. So personally, I prefer using a wired connection here. And they also have this built-in trackpad on the tablet so you can control the operating system on the bigger screen, or you could just plug in a mouse and keyboard or use a controller. And I'll admit that using Samsung DeX isn't much like a console, but like we saw, we can always just mirror the screen. Personally, what I like doing with this is installing a third-party launcher. That way I can kind of organize all of my games and emulators together. And I use the Android TV launcher from Google Play. And once this is set up correctly, you can navigate it with a controller, and as you can see, I've got everything organized here, so when it's on the big screen, I can just scroll through here with my controller and start the game or emulator that I want to play at the moment. And I'll just go with Fortnite here, but keep in mind, when you're in the mirrored mode like this, you won't get a full screen. If you want to go full screen with everything, use Samsung DeX. It just scales it up a lot better. And by the way, on the Snapdragon 855, this game will run at 60 FPS, but you have to be at medium settings, 75% resolution scale. And the last thing I want to show you here is the emulator launcher I use on this tablet, be it handheld mode or in Samsung DeX. This is Dig. I've got a custom theme installed. I can scroll through all of my systems. It'll automatically download the box art for me. I've done a video on this, I think, last year. It's a really nice launcher, but we do need more updates. So yeah, this on the big screen or the built-in screen on the tablet looks really good. We can launch our games directly from here. So we'll go with Sonic Colors for Wii. And it automatically detected that I had the Dolphin emulator installed. It's going to start the game up right here for me. So I completely understand that $300 is a lot for a tablet, but when it comes to Android tablets, this is definitely one of the best you can get. If it's not this one, it's going to be the Samsung Galaxy S7, which has the Snapdragon 865. But I've taken a look at those refurbished, and they're still around $450 to $550 depending on the storage variant. But if you're looking for a good Android tablet right now that has a lot to offer, the Tab S6 is really hard to beat at $309 refurbished. Make sure you don't get tripped up and buy the S6 Lite on accident. It's nowhere near the performance of the S6. But yeah, the S6 offers phenomenal native Android game support, great cloud gaming performance here as long as you got a good connection, awesome emulation performance. It's not going to run every single GameCube and Wii game at full speed, but there's a ton of the library that will be fully playable on this device. When it comes to Dreamcast, PSP, N64, PC Engine, FBA, Neo Geo, it's going to run it all just fine. When you pair this up with a controller like the Ipega 9083, you got an awesome big screen handheld console for emulation, gaming, and cloud gaming. And then when you get to the house, you can plug this in over HDMI and have it all on the big screen for you so you can just sit back and play your favorite games like that. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. Really appreciate you watching. If you're interested in picking something like this up, I will leave a link in the description. I'll also leave links for that controller I used and the HDMI adapter. If you have any questions about anything you saw in this video, or if you want to see anything else running on the Tab S6, just let me know in the comments below. But that's it for this one, and like always, thanks for watching.